YouTube, what's up, man? It's your boy Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been here, welcome back. Just got off work, on the way to go back home. But I wanted to do this just quick video. And I've titled it, The Easiest Way to Increase Your Take-Home Pay. Very simple. Doesn't require any additional side gigs, any additional income, no crazy trickery. Now, the title of the video may sound too good to be true, but it's actually a very simple, very legal thing for you to do. And I'm sure for many of you guys may have already done it, so it's not really that big of a problem. But this is just one of the ways that I find to be very easy to increase your take-home pay month to month. And it's very fitting because we are towards the end of the tax season. So what I'm referring to is the tax withholding. More specifically, if you're a W-2 worker, you would have filled out a form from your job when you first got hired, what's known as a W-4 form. And it is a form that pretty much your job, well, you fill out the form and your employer knows how much that they should roughly, right? It's not always exact, but roughly how much they should withhold from your taxes, and then they pay to the government on your behalf, right? So that's just how it is. And to just break down even further, your employer acts as almost as a middleman to withhold the taxes for you. So that's how you fill out that W-4 form. And it's, I'm sure many of you guys may recall, it's the form where you have to say if you're single, you're married, do you have any dependents, blah, 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 blah. How do you want to, file tax exempt, which is one of the tricks that a lot of people do that I don't recommend doing, but I'm not a tax professional, so feel free to contact them before you make any changes to your W-4 in that regard. But what you'll then do is just go to your HR or payroll department and you'll fill out the W-4 form, or you'll request to fill out a new W-4 form. Fortunately, at my job, everything is done through the payroll app, which is through ADP. So you could just fill it out. You don't even have to go HR. And then you just redo the form, right? You'll obviously answer it correctly, right? Don't try to do no trickery or anything like that. And by them doing that, what you're doing is resetting your withholdings so that way they could withhold the appropriate amount on your taxes, which may or may not increase your income. The reason why I say may or may not is that for a lot of people, let's say you had a job for like 10 years and you never adjusted your W-4 because you're always just like, well, I did that paperwork when I got hired. Why do I need to constantly change it? But a lot of the tax code and tax system has changed. I mean, it changed. A lot has changed within the last year with the whole passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill, or what some people will call the Trump Tax 2.0. A lot changed from a year, much more in 10 years, right? So you may be having withholding that works and makes sense, 10 years ago that may not make sense this year. And also a lot of situations have changed. In the 10-year period, you may have maybe 2 or 3 kids. You may have been married, right? But because you never changed it on your taxes, they're withholding it as if you're single, as opposed to withholding it if you were married, and all these other things. And if you have kids, right, then you could qualify for the child tax credit and all these things. And instead of waiting until you file your taxes the following year and getting this huge tax refund, which maybe for some people that's what they want, but in the video that I link in the description below, which is why I hate getting tax refunds, I explained that doing so is like giving the IRS an interest-free loan. And it's like, why would I give the IRS an interest-free loan when I can make that money work for me today? Whether it's through investing, paying down debt, building up your savings, or just enjoying your life and living life, right? Why give somebody my money for free when I could use it and put that money into use today for my needs and my necessities? So obviously the major, I guess you could say, downside of this is that if you're somebody that had your withholdings, you haven't adjusted it for a while, and then you adjust your withholdings, and let's say it makes it more accurate to your actual tax liability for that year, then you're not going to expect those super large, big refunds. So if you're expecting that $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 back, well, you're not going to get it when you file your taxes next year, because again, by you adjusting with your holdings, you're getting more of that money back in your paycheck because you're withholding less, because your tax liability is less than what you project, right? That's the whole idea of when with you withholding taxes. Now, the reason why I emphasize this works for W-2 employees is because with W-2 employees, again, you have that middleman that comes withhold taxes from you. Now, if you are self-employed, or if you're getting money through stocks, dividends, interest, pretty much anything that falls outside of the W-2 world, well, there's no middleman to withhold your taxes. So the IRS is saying, all right, cool beans, make your gross, but we want our taxes on a quarterly basis. And it's usually, I think it's like April 15, I think June 15, September 15, and I think January 15 for the quarter 4. So they broke it down. They want their money that way. So you have to do the estimations, how much money you're going to get paid through these other avenues that you're not subjected to withholding. And then you yourself have to withhold it for yourself. And then you would have to make the payments, and again, in a quarterly basis, so that when you then file, the IRS could reconcile your debt. So they're like, hey, let's say your tax liability is $15,000, you only withhold 12. Okay, you owe us 3, or vice versa. Let's say your tax liability is $12,000, but you paid in $15,000. Okay, we refund you $3,000. So this is a trick that primarily works for your W-2 workers, because you have to withhold. And again, I'm not a tax professional, tax advisor. So if you're not confident in doing this, or if you don't feel sure, if you feel like you may mess up, then please contact your tax lady, tax man, tax person, or, go on the IRS website and make sure that, you're following the guidelines, so that way you're not doing something and maybe checking the wrong box. And now you went from, trying to withhold less, so then you get more of your money month to month, to making a mistake. And let's say withholding significantly, more, or sorry, I think I spun that around, so that you're not paying a huge tax liability, because you don't want to go from, getting a couple $1,000s back to like, oh crap, now I owe like $10,000 back because I made a mistake on the form. So that's just something to keep in mind. I won't take you guys too long. I'm already home. I'm about to go home. I'm already home. So enough of your time. Thank you guys. It's Richardson from Minimum Wage to Millionaire. May the Lord be with you all today. You guys have a nice day. Take care.